Hey everyone, it's Ryan Zomorodi, co-founder and COO of Real Estate Skills. And today I'm here with Kevin, who is an active member of our Pro Wholesaler VIP Program, who's based in Sacramento, California. And he just virtually wholesaled a deal for a $9,000 profit. Now the property is in Dallas, Texas, and he's based in Sacramento, California. And virtual wholesaling is ultimately wholesaling a property at a distance when you don't actually see the property in person. So I'm excited for y'all to listen in to hear how Kevin virtually wholesaled this property and hear more about his journey as an entrepreneur and a real estate investor. Now, first off, Kevin, how you doing today?
Doing really good, Ryan. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. And again, thanks for taking the time out of your busy day to share with us your journey. So first off, would love to just hear more about your background and kind of what you're doing before joining us in the Pro Wholesaler VIP program.
So what I did before, I've been around a while on this little rock we got blowing around the sun. So I've done a number of things. Most recently, I had a roofing company here in Northern California and ran that for about 15 years. And then from there, I decided to save my body a little bit. Went into massage therapy and did that for 20 years. 2020 rolled around and that really wasn't an option for about a year. So I had actually started looking into do some real estate investing and taking some online classes, looking at some YouTube videos. And so I'm glad I was prepared for that. So I started that in December 2019. So when I was kind of forced into retirement, which I was 20 years, that's plenty, for massage therapy, I was super excited about learning more about the real estate investing world.
Yeah, phenomenal. I think, when 2020 came around and the pandemic happened, a lot of people were obviously rocked by, the changing environment, and a lot of people were looking for ways to create their own income. And real estate is, of course, one of the most attractive ways to get into business for yourself. And even like yourself having your own business prior, it's a great way to sort of reinvent yourself and find, stability with a very predictable business model. So I guess what kind of gravitated you towards real estate from your prior business?
Not that I'm sure lots of people are interested in real estate. I think it's a very interesting subject overall. I think what motivated me was I'm getting closer to retirement, and my retirement fund isn't quite as much as I would like it to be. So, and looking at investments, I even played with stocks for a little while and did pretty well, actually pretty well. But that was I didn't have control over it, and that bothered me. And so the more I looked into real estate, I realized that I can look at numbers and I can determine what they're going to be, and I can find the sales and I can control the numbers, and they are really good numbers. So that was pretty motivating.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I can definitely relate to that. So, since joining the Pro Wholesaler VIP program, can you speak to your experience, when you first joined and then ultimately getting more active and getting the ball rolling to ultimately landing your recent deal?
Yeah. Real estate skills has been a real, in a sense, lifesaver. The learning a lot online, YouTube videos, etc., gave me a lot of confidence. Researching online, I'm a very good researcher and I'm good with spreadsheets. So again, I felt I was pretty confident, but knowing that I would want really some solid information and education on people who have succeeded, and looking across a few different courses, I enjoyed them all. But when I came across Real Estate Skills, Pro Wholesaler, the outline, the way it was laid out, was well defined and to the point. So that I didn't have. There are definitely some videos and some things to read on real estate skills and the instruction. And they're it could be hours long, but that compared to other things that I saw on the internet where it would take many, many more hours than what Real Estate Skills provided. I liked the conciseness of Real Estate Skills and the fact that it delivered the information that I needed and not everything else that I didn't need. So I thought I knew a lot about investing, again, from the YouTube videos and my own spreadsheets and looking around. But once I started reading the Real Estate Skills course, I basically was schooled. You can spell it with the SKOOL if you like, but I was humbled to learn that what all the other things that I was hearing about were just noise in the background, and that I could focus on one program and just stay there. And it was really for me, a relief to just be able to focus on one thing and not worry about the noise around me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the way that I interpret that, we do hear a lot of noise out there, whether it's, on like YouTube or social media or just a lot of other courses out there. They have a slew of strategies. There's so many ways to make money and carve a path in real estate and business these days. And so, what we really strive to do is condense and really have the most step-by-step practical information that leads to results. There's a lot of things that are taught out there that can ultimately lead to burning cash, a lot of marketing methods that ultimately take a long time and a substantial budget until you have results. But what we really love about using the MLS and what we have in the Pro Wholesaler VIP program is ultimately you don't need to have a substantial budget in order to get results and to start making offers. So yeah, I'd love if you could either speak to that and then kind of shift gears towards your recent deal. You are an investor in Sacramento, correct? In the Sacramento area, and you recently completed a deal in Dallas, Texas. So that's over 1,500 miles away from where you live. So maybe you could speak to how you were able to land that deal and kind of just the life cycle of that wholesale.
Yeah, I'll try to make that quick. In my opinion, I can't tell other people what to do, but for me, I go where the market is. And when I say market, I mean a market where you can make a profit. And so there are markets that are hot. In the Sacramento area, there's still not enough housing. And so even there's just not, you can't just go in and get a house and bring it down because there's big money coming in from other areas that are just buying them up. So I was working with some other people that I had met through online groups where we were financial investors, and a few of us did some research. And for us, there's certainly many, many markets out there, but for us, our knowledge and the people and the family that we kind of knew were living in the Texas area, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I had some family there. Another guy had some family there. So we figured out we'd perhaps have some boots on the ground there, and the numbers were looking great. We were finding houses that were decent prices and that needed to be fixed up. And so we started and just put in the time and when doing the grind of, we could use Redfin and go and see what the deals were, easily call up the listing agents. They were very friendly to ask our questions, do those discovery calls, and that built confidence. And it was nice, again, going along the course and saying that this is what you should do, and then doing it and finding out, yep, that's what I should have done, and that's what's working.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you're able to leverage the program not only in your hometown, but as you shifted into another market and even partnering with people that you've met. It sounds like you had family out in Dallas. Of course, having that boots on the ground certainly helps, but ultimately leveraging the process, even not in your backyard. We generally prescribe trying to make it work in your backyard, but of course, if there are more opportunities, Dallas, Texas in general is booming, so there's a lot of demand for housing and there's just a lot of investment opportunity there. So you were able to work the MLS offer system, call listing agents, submit offers, and ultimately you're able to land that contract. So as far as the disposition side of it, could you speak to maybe the timeline, from when you found that property, putting it under contract, ultimately closing on the deal?
I sure can. So we're doing a lot of searching, and then one of the boots that we have on ground is a real estate agent and her husband there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They're also flippers, so they're investors as well. So those are good friends of mine. So a partner and I would do the online investigation, find a property we thought was a good deal, and then send it to them for them to double check. So by we found one, and it took a while. We found some. I would say it was November of 22, and then by toward the end of that month, we'd had our agent there send several offers out. We would call the listing agent and we'd find out some about the property. I mean, everyone probably knows this already, but you send a lot of offers out, and they say, it may or may not be accepted. But it was probably a couple months, not because we started before in November. So in November we actually had one that was accepted, and then we're like, okay, now what do we do? Now I already knew what to do intellectually, but wow, when it happens, that's a whole different story. So again, glad that I had some boots on the ground there, and the real estate skills in the community, and you guys as coaches to just kind of verify what I already knew and going forward with that. So yeah, it was around November 14th we found one. Sent them the platinum. I got the offer sent in on the 16th. Sent them and got it accepted. Started sending out the platinum letters immediately to some buyers that we had already found, but also posting them on investor sites in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, because that's another way to find even more buyers. So we're not going to let go of that little gold mine. But yeah, probably within about 3 days, we found out one of our buyers that we already had said, yeah, I can take that deal. And the interesting thing about it was the deadline was approaching. And when we got looking at the, we were probably $50,000 under the asking price. And we got looking close. That was when our offer was accepted. But when we started looking closer and we had the buyer look with us, unfortunately, there were some other repairs that we had not seen. So we had to lower our offer. And that was scary. Like, okay, now we're offering even less. Is the seller going to go with that? But when we talked with the buyer, we explained the exact deals, what the exact cost was, what our exact numbers were, that we're not just making this stuff up. Like, these are the things that will need fixed no matter who buys this. The seller agreed to that, lowered the price to where the buyer was going to be able to do a good profit. And it went through. We did have to, during that process, we did extend, like the date was coming a little bit close. So we're like, oh, the deadline's coming up. And again, oh no, we're going to lose it. The deadline's coming up. Well, no, we're not, because our agent said, no, we just file an amendment and just extend the timeline. Oh, that's right. We can do that. Oh, forgot about that. Extend the timeline, and no problem, because at the end of the day, the seller needed it out of that deal. The buyer wanted that deal. And so everyone worked together to make it happen so that everyone could win. And it turned out great. We ended up with a $9,000 assignment fee instead of a $10,000 assignment fee, but okay with that.
Yeah, phenomenal. Great job. So you got it under contract for $50,000 under the listing price you mentioned, and then you also got another reduction while you were in escrow. So, I mean, that's one of the most important things, is having that inspection contingency in your contract so that you and your buyers, your partners, can go to the property and ultimately check the assumptions that you had going into that offer and making sure that it's still feasible given the condition of the property. A lot of times when we're making offers, we don't have that opportunity to go in and cross all of our T's, dot all of our I's, but ultimately during that inspection period, you determine that the budget might have been a little bit more, you negotiate it, and you're actually able to get a better price. And one of the important things I want to highlight that you mentioned that I think is just so smart is that, we need to remind the sellers and we need to remind the agents that the things that we're discovering in this inspection, they all need to be disclosed to other buyers as well. So it's not like they can just sweep it under the rug and those repairs don't exist for the next buyer. It's like, hey, these are all material facts that impact the usability and that impact the value of the property. So if you want to sell, then we're a capable, willing buyer and we're ready to move forward. We just need a better price to cover those additional costs. So I just think that's an awesome negotiation strategy that you're able to implement successfully. And ultimately, we're all about providing value to our buyers. So you mentioned there was a sizable profit for your buyer. What was that profit projection for the buyer?
The profit projection is, he was looking for a minimum of 40, but it's now looking like he'll have a profit of $50,000.
Yeah, that's solid. I think most fix and flippers, most real estate investors would be happy to pay, $9,000 assignment fee if they're going to be making $40,000, $50,000. So
yes, yeah, and absolutely. As soon as he started working on that and realized how much money he was going to make, even before he sold it, he was calling us again saying, "What else have you got for me?"
Yeah, I mean, you've provided value. I think a lot of, especially new wholesalers, they're not really sure, why are cash buyers willing to pay our fees? Why are they willing to pay, $10,000+ sometimes to get deals? But in fact, you're able to negotiate a great property, and bigger picture, they're going to be making several times more than they're paying in the assignment fee. So, way to find value, way to negotiate, and ultimately build that relationship so that this buyer is going to continue to come back and buy more deals from you. So that's really awesome, Kevin. Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, having gone through this process, planting some roots and nurturing some relationships in Dallas, what's life like now? What are your plans going forward? What's next for Kevin?
Two things I want to address there. I think probably the more important thing I'll address first before I forget it, and that was that I was very worried and did not want to admit how worried I was with the limited amount of income I had come in to live on because of what the economy kind of had done, especially with my career. And so life was fine. I was definitely happy that whole time, but underneath, kind of paddling like that duck under the water. And having actually made an earning with an assignment fee, and seeing that happen, I'm starting to walk onto shore. I'm not paddling quite as hard, and it's a relief for me. And I think, obviously, if it's a relief on me, it's a relief on all of my loved ones around me to see a little bit happier Kevin around, walking around. The second part of that is that it was, like I said, it was a few months before November. So, August, when we were looking for houses and all those months before we found a deal, and now the deal happened and paid off in December. And in January, we're not looking for, in the next deal in 3 months. We now have the confidence and complete skill, and we've refined the methods. And so we're looking at doing 1 to 2 deals a month, which is very doable. I'm very relaxed about that. I'm not struggling to worry that I might get a deal in 3 months. Now I'm quite sure I'll get 1 or 2 within a month. So that relief, it took a while, and it took some stress, and it took a little bit of paddling. But once you're there, I've learned how to swim.
Yeah, that's incredible, and that's very inspiring, Kevin. Happy it's made a difference for not only you, but your loved ones around you, and being in a position to really shift your income stream and really your business from one in the massage therapy space into real estate, something that is recession proof. Ultimately, we're providing housing, which is an essential business, right, that we've learned. So they're not shutting down housing, they're not shutting down real estate investment anytime soon, or probably ever. So it's something that we all can build together. We can build our knowledge base, our network, our connections, really just build our businesses with confidence, knowing that this is something that we can all grow into and just continue to rinse and repeat. So I'm really proud of you, not only for doing this deal and proving it to yourself and your family that you can make that pivot, that you can redefine yourself in real estate and make a very respectable income from it, but also for being a leader in our communities. I know you've been very active, and you've been helping others who are maybe just a little bit newer into the program, who are still getting their feet and still in that paddling phase, as you phrased it. But ultimately, you're sharing videos, you're showing people how to find deals in their respective markets, even markets that you might not be in yourself yet. But also just helping people get to those next steps. And so I really just want to thank you for that, being a leader, and kind of just giving back, paying it forward as you're on this journey, which really just speaks to the power of our community. So I really appreciate that, Kevin. Yeah, and thank you for doing that.
Happy to. I love it.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Well, I appreciate that. Any other words that you might give someone who's looking to take the leap into real estate investing, and someone who's considering joining the Pro Wholesaler VIP program?
I think it's, from looking back now, and my advice would be that as what's the word I want to look, as scary as it might seem, it's really a step-by-step process, and those steps aren't quite as easy as crawling. Those those steps require action. And so it's tough. I know Colin has said it before too. There's times where sometimes something comes up in life where we put it on the back burner for a while. I didn't really have that choice, but I can see where that would happen. But I guess what I'm saying is that it is a step-by-step process. You just have to stick with it. And if for some reason you become challenged and want encouragement to come back in, hop on the community board and just say, hey, I've been challenged. I'm looking for encouragement to hop back in. This is my market. Can anyone help out? We're happy to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, again, thanks for, being an inspiration for others, sharing your journey today, and, just taking the time to, share with our community, a little bit about your journey and how it's been, and ultimately some of your goals going forward. So, again, thank you, Kevin. It's been a pleasure to be part of your journey, and I look forward to continue to see you succeed and, grow as a real estate investor and entrepreneur. So, looking forward to keeping in touch.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yep. Thanks, Kevin. I hope you guys got a lot out of today's interview with Kevin. We learned about his virtual wholesale deal that he did while living in Sacramento when the property was in Dallas, Texas. We learned about how he researched a lot of other programs and ultimately found Real Estate Skills as the step-by-step process that helped him succeed in real estate and ultimately create more freedom in his business and his lifestyle. So for those of you who want to learn more about the Pro Wholesaler VIP program and potentially get involved, just go to realestateskills.com and we'll see you there.